Jay of Stretford, Paddock. This is the live reaction to Ralf Rangnick's press conference ahead of the Middlesbrough game. And I'm on my own at the minute, but I will be joined shortly by Joe Smith. The press conference, I think, was around half an hour ago. We're just getting some of the quotes out from it now. So I'm going to run through all those as it is live. As always, get involved in the comments, get involved in the chat, and let us know what you think about what Ralf Rangnick has had to say for himself and anything else you may want to say as well. So, first of all, I'm going to obviously go through what Ralf Rangnick said. We're going to talk about his reaction to questions. He was asked about Mason Greenwood. Ralf Rangnick said, in a way, yes, when asked whether Mason Greenwood's situation was a factor in Jesse Lingard not moving from United on deadline day even. He said, we had a problem with Mason Greenwood and being without a player for the time being and club not finding an agreement with another club. On to Paul Pogba. Ralf Rangnick says Paul Pogba will be involved against Middlesbrough and could start. Edinson Cavani is being given extra time off following international duty. Eric Bailly has an ankle problem, so they're both out. He also said that Jesse Lingard asked for a couple of days to clear his mind, so he's not going to be available for Middlesbrough either. So we know for certain the ones that aren't available are Edinson Cavani, Eric Bailly, Mason Greenwood, obviously, and Jesse Lingard.
Yeah.
What do you make of that then? For initial sort of quotes that are coming out from the press conference, I mean, we kind of knew most of that anyway, didn't we?
Yeah. I think the questions have been pretty softball so far compared to what you might have expected.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. And it does make sense, the Jesse thing. Obviously, he wanted to leave. We've got his family coming out saying he wants to leave, saying he's being held captive and all this sort of thing. But really, you signed a contract. You're near the end of the contract. That's, come on. There's been a pretty huge thing happen in the last week, that affects the amount of players United have. We can't just lose, endless players in attacking positions. Obviously, it's not planned and it's, disgusting what's happened. But you can understand why, as a club, United think, well, we might need Jesse Lingard now. Like, he's just gone up in the pecking order, hasn't he? Yeah. So, from a club perspective, it makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, it does. It's just a bit more sort of detail on that. He was asked whether this week has been distracting. He said, in fact, we had a good normal week of training with 5 training sessions, including today's training. Obviously, it was a topic within the team, but they're human beings, and Mason was part of that group before we had our break. It was a good week of training. We could train under normal circumstances, and we are looking forward to the game tomorrow. He then goes on to sort of elaborate on the Jesse Lingard situation. He said 3 weeks ago, Jesse didn't want to leave. Then he changed his mind. I had a chat with him 10 days ago, and I could fully understand why he wanted to leave to get game time for his future and the World Cup. And I told him if he finds a club and the club find a solution within our club, or with our club, sorry, I would allow him to leave. All the developments, things changed. We had no agreement with any other club, so we had to take a final decision as the board and keep Jesse until the end of the season. What do you make of that, Joe? Because a few people are a bit concerned the fact that Ralf Rangnick's going to be a consultant. He said there that, like, it was more or less he gave a green light, it seemed, with him and Jesse had this chat and he was happy for him to go. And then the board have sort of vetoed that. Is that concerning, or do you think this kind of makes sense?
What, concerning from United's point of view?
Concerning the fact that if he is going to be a consultant and the board aren't going to sort of do what he wants all the time, does that sort of bode badly, if that makes sense?
Well, I don't know, because like we said, the situation's just changed at United, hasn't it? The situation isn't what it was 10 days ago. So we need players. And he wants to leave, and we clearly were willing to let him leave under those circumstances, but the circumstances have changed. So I get it. I don't worry about Rangnick being ignored or not listened to or anything like that, because just because you're the manager, just because you're the consultant, doesn't mean everything you want to happen happens. There's loads. I'm sure Ed Woodward doesn't get everything he wants. I'm sure the Glazers don't get everything they want, and they've got more power than anyone. So the lower down you are on that ladder, the lower percentage of your decisions get acted upon, because there's more people above you that can, potentially overrule those decisions. So it doesn't bother me, it doesn't worry me. I don't think he ever expected to get everything his own way. Just because he's a consultant doesn't mean he runs the entire club top to bottom, does it?
No, not at all. Just have a look at some of the comments as well. A8 says we are such a mess. Munib Siddiqui says Sancho will start with Greenwood. There's a sort of another comment from Ralf Rangnick on the sort of Greenwood-Lingard situation, asked whether was Greenwood a factor in keeping Lingard. I mentioned this earlier, but I'll elaborate because I've got the full quote here. He says, in a way, yes, but the club told me, the board told me they couldn't find an agreement with any clubs interested in him. With the window closing Monday evening, the board informed me they would rather he stay, so I could understand and accept. It was two things. We had a problem with Mason Greenwood and being without a player for the time being who hasn't played in weeks, and the club not finding an agreement with another club. So it seems like there's a multitude of reasons there. Obviously, the Mason Greenwood situation is a factor. There's also the situation that we knew with. It looked like it was Newcastle, wasn't it? That the main sort of club that were interested in Jesse Lingard were, but United and Newcastle weren't on the same page, were they? Because we're hearing reports that United wanted this relegation survival clause or payment of around 12 million or 6 million, depending on who you read.
Yeah.
And Newcastle were like, well, that's extortionate because that's going to drive the price of Jesse Lingard up to around 15 million quid for a player that's out of contracts in the summer. So even though I hate the Glazers and I think the parasites have taken enough out of the club, I can understand from United point of view saying, well, if he keeps Newcastle up, it's worth a lot of money to you.
Yeah.
So a bit of a bonus won't go amiss. I can just understand
this is the
frustration with Jesse, though.
This is the position we find ourselves in often, isn't it? Where it's like, really, you can understand why we're asking for more, but then we don't get it done for more.
No, that's
like
it.
We haven't got that money.
Do you think
we've come out and we've said, it rising up to 10, 12, 50 million, whatever. That didn't happen. Yeah. So have we priced ourselves out of a move?
Would you be happy for that, though? Would you be happy for us to price ourselves out and keep Jesse now? Do you think Jesse could be an asset to this team?
Only if there's injuries. I don't see where he's going to play still.
No.
Obviously, Mason's not in the squad and won't be, I would assume, for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that we have someone there. Let's say Sancho gets injured or Rashford's an injury comes back for Rashford. Martial's gone. Donny's gone. Who have we got in those wide positions? Especially if we're playing 4-3-3. Pogba and Bruno playing as midfielders. Our wing options now are, our attack options are Cavani, Ronaldo, Rashford, Sancho, Lingard.
Yeah.
So he's going to play games now, but I don't think he's going to be a crucial member of the squad or anything other than the backup or the fourth man in out of five. But I just think Elanga as well, obviously. But I just think that we need players there, and I don't think he can be too annoyed. Jesse, I just think maybe he wanted to leave. I get that, but like I said 3 weeks ago, he still was undecided. Yeah. He's making his decisions up in the last few weeks. It's not like he's been saying for a year, I want to stay, I want to leave, let me out, let me go, I want to go. That hasn't been the case. Up until 3 weeks ago, he was saying he wants to stay, apparently. Let's assume that Rangnick's telling the truth there.
I assume
the story we've got on it.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly like he's been consistently, let me go, I can't, and they've not let him. If he'd have been saying that for the last 6 months, I'm sure Ralf Rangnick would have let him go.
Yeah.
He probably would have gone earlier in the window before the whole Greenwood situation, and it wouldn't have even overlapped, and there would, it would have been, he's gone, that's it. So I just, I can't feel too sorry for someone that is being forced to be in the Man United squad. Do you know what I mean?
It does sound like a bit of an oxymoron, doesn't it? Being forced to be part of the Manchester United squad.
I know he's got his career in the World Cup to think about. I get all that.
Yeah.
But again, if he'd have been saying for the last 18 months, I'm not playing, let me leave, and that was the only message he'd been saying, I think he would have left by now.
Yeah, I completely understand that. On the size of the squad, Ralf Rangnick said, as I said earlier on, the group was slightly too big. We had too many players, not seeing the chance to get regular playing time. This is why I'm happy for the club. Donny, obviously Van der Beek, Anthony Martial and Amad Diallo deserve regular game time. I wish them all the best. Amad Diallo has already played and scored in his first game, and I'm pretty sure Donny and Anthony will do well at Sevilla and Everton, and I hope they come back. Just quickly on those three, do you think they've all three have got a future at Manchester United if they do well?
No, I don't think Martial has.
Martial,
I think Ahmad could. He's still very young. I think he needs to grow physically a little bit. He looked slightly overwhelmed against Celtic yesterday, didn't he? And came off at half time. I think Donny maybe could, but I just don't see it. He's not young enough and he's not new enough to the Premier League. He's been in the Premier League for 18 months. He's 24 years old. He's not either of the things where you go, it might take a bit of time. I just don't see it. I don't know what we're waiting for.
I feel like it'd have to be a madness.
Yeah.
Like Jesse Lingard at West Ham, even that wasn't quite enough, was it, to get
exactly.
So I'm wondering if it has to be like, he just smashes it out of the park where he's banging in goals and assists every week, and even then it's like
all it would mean was we'd make our money back from Everton.
I mean, there's a great unknown, and we'll get to the managerial links in a minute because he has spoken about that. You don't know, there might be a new manager comes in who just is Donny Van der Beek's biggest fan, but I doubt it. Chris Christodoulou says, "Hi gents, when are you planning to come to London? When are we planning to go to London?
Don't know. When are you going?
I don't know. I've not been for a little while. Should we do it soon?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, we're gonna go. We're gonna go soon.
Go tonight.
Yeah, tonight. Zach Roberts says, I can see Rangnick using Pogba on the left of a forward three. Give Rangnick the choice to switch to a 4-2-2 diamond without making a sub. Paul Pogba kind of started their season there, didn't he?
Yeah.
I know he played a little bit deeper than Marcus would, but he was on the left-hand side of the front three. Kim Hawkins says, play Jesse. He will be good in this system, while Jordan Lamore says, I'm done with Jesse. So, conflicting opinions on Jesse Lingard. There's also a little bit of a Paul Pogba update. I had this in my news this morning. I said we'd have a decision today on whether he was going to be fit for tomorrow, and it looks like we do have. On Pogba, Rangnick says, yes, Paul will be part of the group. He might even be in the starting 11. I mentioned this earlier, but I've got the full quote here, so I'll give you the full quote. Eddie Cavani will only return at the weekend. He contacted me at the weekend and asked if he could have 2 more days at home. I knew he couldn't be in the starting 11 with jet lag. Victor Lindelof has been ill the whole week and not training. The same is true with Jesse. We could give him a couple of days off to clear his mind. He will be back in training on Monday and part of the whole squad. Eric Barry came back yesterday. He has some problems with his ankle and will not be part of the squad. Yeah. Luke will be playing, Luke Shaw obviously, because Alex Telles played 90 minutes for Brazil. Okay. So it's manageable, all right, isn't it?
Yeah, and
like Pogba coming back's a big one, obviously.
Speaking of that, I'm going to give you a little player profile, and you decide whether you are happy with this player.
Oh, wow, this game, yeah.
Coming to the end of his contract.
Yep.
Has spoken about moving to another club.
Yep.
Is injured quite consistently.
The time, I'm
injured
guessing.
a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Only got 2 goals this season.
Only got 2 goals this season.
Would you keep him at the club?
If he wanted to stay?
Well, he's talked about leaving. He had to be convinced to stay.
I don't know. It depends.
Are you happy with that? Are you happy with the person that ticks all those boxes?
I'm not.
Well, that player's Edinson Cavani, Jay.
Right.
Which is mad because we all love him. But he's injured all the time. He's got 2 fucking goals all season for a striker. But when you say, let's be honest, is shit.
When you say that though, right?
Wanted to go to Barca in the winter.
You're ignoring a lot there. Like I get it. I get what you're saying. You've said some facts then, but you've ignored a lot of positives about him.
Long hair.
Does the little bow and arrow. Does that? Got
United
2 of the best chants I've heard.
Or
certainly the best chant that's doing the rounds at the minute. Is a good influence on certain members of the team. Plays for the team. Graphs. Gets the crowd going like probably no other player does.
Yeah.
And is happy to come off the bench, despite the fact he scored the 4th most amount of goals than any other striker in Europe over the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. So,
I agree. I like him.
Yeah,
I like Edinson Cavani. But it's funny that all of those things I said are true and exist for him, and roughly the same things exist for Paul Pogba. Yeah. I know the expectations were different, the money was different, all of it's different. Yeah. But Cavani, everyone loves him. Pogba.
You haven't even got a champ, Paul Pogba. I can't figure out that. Am I being proper stupid? Yeah, I mean, that's not his though.
He's like in the background of a different
Do you know what I mean? I mean, let us know what you think about Cavani, let you think about
just a little thing, because I was looking at some stats yesterday and I realised he'd scored 2 goals all season, Cavani, in February. Them's are Martial numbers.
Yeah, I mean... Lawrence Tristan says he's everything you want in a United player. I mean, this is the thing. You saw it against West Ham. He comes on. The crowd's going. He gets going. He's involved in the goal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I like him.
He's got something about him.
Yeah.
Right, on the Pochettino links, or as my mate calls him, Pochettino, I have no idea, is his answer. My full focus is on training the group right now. We're having games coming up in 3 different competitions. I couldn't give any reasonable answer to that question. My focus is on the next couple of games, weeks and months. Be as successful as we can be. I mean, that's kind of what he can only say, really. He can't go, Mauricio Pochettino, not in my lifetime, rubbish. Or he can't go, get him in, he's min.
So, not to dwell on it for too long, obviously. But the distraction of this week has to have been difficult to oversee as a manager, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Because there were rumours yesterday that it's really shaken the camp, and it's all anyone's talking about, and people are struggling to sort of come to terms with it. I feel that as a fan.
Yeah, as a fan, you feel that. Also, even if you weren't in the spotlight like you are as a footballer, if that was someone you worked with and this was happening, you'd be shocked. But if you're a footballer as well, where the spotlight's on you, this is all just being constantly spoken about in the press. Then and also your moves, and we saw people scrutinising what Marcus Rashford was posting on social media and things like that. Then it's going to have effects. It is going to have an effect on you. And we talk about players and mentally how where they're at, and you can imagine a lot of the squad are going to be like like you say. shook up. And I think, Ralf Rangnick sort of towing a party line a little bit, going, we've got a job to do. But he did say that it has been a talking point, or whatever it was he said about it. Which amongst the squad, which, if I can just find the squad, if I can find the exact quote. It was a topic within the team, but they're human beings.
Yeah.
And Mason was part of the group before we had our break. So, yeah, it was a topic in the squad. I mean, that's
of course.
That's probably the most
goes without saying, really, doesn't it?
That's a massive understatement. He's also been asked about his fullbacks, Ralf Rangnick. What does he want from his fullbacks? He says they have to be both sort of defenders and attackers. He said they have to be defenders and at the same time give as much input as they possibly can when we're in possession of the ball. They should be offensive fullbacks, offensive defenders. And I think in the last couple of weeks, we have improved in those areas. It will be an important position for tomorrow's game because Middlesbrough will play with a back five with very offensive wing backs. It'll be very important to play tactically to a high level. With regard to our own fullbacks, as I said, I'm happy with the development that all those players have taken. This is what I want to see. Offensive fullbacks playing almost like wingers do, and at the same time be modern defenders winning one-on-one duels and switching sides from one side to another when we have to mark through. I mean, it does
tactical insight there.
Well, it does. It does feel like the fullbacks have taken a more prominent role.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of that is, we're returning to a manager that tells you where to stand and what runs to make, and they're switching play when we have to, alleviate pressure or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
like I feel as though maybe under Solskjaer it was a bit more. Get up and down, overlap, maybe slightly more basic, which is what we've heard. That's what I wasn't at training, but that's what you hear, isn't it? And maybe now it's a bit more of a time for the players who can follow instructions better and who are more equipped to actually listen and do what is told rather than go out and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe that will suit the likes of Tellez and Dalot more than maybe Shaw, who has struggled recently. I know he's obviously going to play tomorrow, so we'll find out with Luke Shaw, but interesting, like you said, we've been working on that. It's not something that's just like, well, they're not being great, but let's hope they get better. He's telling them what to do, and we're actually working towards something, which is promising. It
is promising. We'll see. Time will tell. I mean,
because it just feel like the fullbacks are still a bit of a weak link, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember which game it was. Was it the Wolves game where I think Wan-Bissaka was like our main attacking threat in the first half?
Yeah.
And you're like, why? How has that happened?
Yeah.
But that's the system you play, where you need them to bomb forward and do a bit more. Zach Roberts says, I can see Rangnick using Pogba on the left of a forward three. Give Rangnick the choice to make a switch to a 4-4-2.
Read that one already?
Have I read that?
Yeah.
Super chat? Have
I?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I've read the wrong one.
4-4-2 diamond with that.
You know what? I have, and there's another super chat there. Sorry about that. If I can just find it. Duncan, 10 players. Ronaldo, Cavani, Marcus Sancho, Ilanga, Bruno, Pogba, Mata, Medjbri, Shoretire is enough to cover 4 positions in various combos. Without Jesse, should be gone. So, I mean, he's named a lot of players there, and I don't think Medjbri's
no, and
Mata
and Shoretire and Mata.
Shoretire,
Jesse's better than both of any of those three.
I think we've got. It's not just about the numbers, is it? It's about who can actually do a job and who can do a job in the positions we need as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand your point about we've got a lot of players there, but how much can you rely on some of those players, and are they in the right positions that you would say? Manip Siddique says we need 2 CDMs. Boran Atha says what Rangnick has said is there is a mixture between Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. It almost feels like you've got, like, if one was better at another part of his game, another one. I know Dalot's done well this season or the last few weeks, but I still feel like we could do a little bit more from him defensively.
He's not, Cancelo, is he?
No, he's not, and it is a little bit.
And that's the thing. I know it's a bit like, well, he's one of the, but like that should be what we're going for.
Yeah,
there's no reason why we can't go for. We want to have the best player in the world in every position. It's never going to happen because no team ever does that. But that should be the aim when you buy someone. It should be this guy could go on to be one of the best in the world in this position. Otherwise, why are we buying him? So let's not think like, we can't get that because that's. Let's not settle for he's all right, isn't he? If only he wasn't shit defensively, that's not good enough.
No, it isn't. It isn't. I completely understand and agree with all that. Nick Anand sends, when is the preview out, lads?
It'll be out later today.
Later today, it's going to be me and thee. Mm-hmm. And I might have to change mine, but it's 11 actually because there's a bit of an update there, and I might have put a certain El Matador in mine.
Oh, you silly arse.
Yeah, you silly Billy. Thanks to everyone who's got involved. Make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. Ralf Rangnick has given his pre-Middlesbrough FA Cup press conference.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Got my words out in the end. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll have the preview up later on, and then Joe will be here tomorrow for the game with the watch along and some special guests. That's been Joe Smith. Go and find him at Joe Smith 93.
Fucking hell.
And you can find me at Jay Motty.
There you go.
Thanks for watching.